brewing in the Atlantic.
This wave, this could become a depression this weekend. Increased development chance there.
Out west, the story is heat. From a new wildfire spreading across California's wine country to possible record-setting temperatures in Oregon.
Extreme heat is still the #1 weather-related killer.
Why are dead fish turning up in a Florida lake?
There's got to be a reason why all of a sudden fish are showing up on the grass.
And tips to help keep your lawn looking lush and beautiful.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Hurricane Erin continues to weaken and move away from the United States, but millions of people are still seeing and also feeling the storm's effects. Erin is now a Category 1 storm, but all watches and warnings are canceled. There has been relatively minor damage reported along the coast. There was some flooding, especially along the New Jersey shore in Atlantic City. On North Carolina's Outer Banks, Highway 12 remains closed after it flooded late Wednesday. But the biggest story has been the waves. The Coast Guard ship encounters some pretty big ones. You can see it here off the coast of Delaware and in Rhode Island. Surfers hit the water even though all swimmers were advised to stay out of the water because of deadly rip currents. Katie Benoit is on Rhode Island coastline this morning, keeping an eye on those massive waves.
The waves are pretty big here at Beavertail State Park. You can see they're crashing into the rocks here, and this is a great spot for sightseeing, so it's a good spot to observe these waves from Hurricane Erin at a safe distance. Now here's a look at some of the high surf we've seen so far across southern New England. Big crowds turned out to areas like the seawall at Narragansett Town Beach, but one thing we want to stress, officials and lifeguards are urging people to stay out of the water. According to the Rhode Island State Parks website, all state beaches are closed for swimming until further notice. We did speak to one man in Charlestown who did not heed the warnings and went into the water.
Kind of stupid. Nobody belongs out there. I wouldn't recommend going in for anybody else. We grew up here. They whistled. They were probably right to whistle when they did. I'm lucky I didn't get sucked out.
And right now, these big waves that we're seeing could last through Saturday morning. So if you do head out to Beavertail State Park here, be sure to be careful and not stay out on the rocks here.
And for a look at where Erin is right now, as well as 3 other possible storms brewing in the Atlantic, let's turn to Florida meteorologist Lauren Oleski.
We've got 4 areas that we are monitoring. Right now, I'm not seeing any threats to Florida, so we're fine. Erin moving up the coast of the U.S. We've got this wave. This could become a depression this weekend. Increased development chance there. This other one in the eastern Atlantic, still that moderate chance for development. This could become a depression essentially at any time, but there's not really a well-defined closed center of circulation, and it's going to be moving into an area that's unfavorable for development. So we'll monitor it, but again, I'm not seeing any threats to Florida at this time. And then this other wave in the middle of the ocean, 10% development chance there. That's not something we really need to be concerned with. So here's Erin moving out to sea, still bringing some rough coastal conditions along the eastern United States. There are no more tropical related watches and warnings for any portion of the United States right now. Remember, Erin peaked at a Cat 5. Next name on our list is Fernand and then Gabrielle.
And in recent years, Maine's coast has been battered by nor'easters and tropical storms. Waves there started to pick up in intensity yesterday and could grow bigger today. There's even a coastal flood advisory for much of that state. Max Williams shows us how folks there are preparing for these big waves.
Our guards are on alert and they are ready to go.
Keith Willett is the lifeguard captain at Old Orchard Beach. He says the storm is coming at a bad time, and they have already had to pull 4 lifeguard chairs.
We have a young staff that goes off to college come August, and we'll do what we can with what we have.
But Willett says if surf conditions get out of hand, they have a plan.
If it's too bad, we'll close the beach. If it's to a point where we can make rescues still, we will encourage people to stay knee-deep, waist-deep.
But for others, these conditions are what they've been waiting for.
A little rough, very choppy.
Ben Hines has been surfing since he was 10. He says he is looking for some bigger waves.
Yeah, I think we're waiting for the hurricane to come closer.
And yesterday, Erin was off the Maryland coast. Brad Bell was in Ocean City with a look at the impacts.
So here in Ocean City, the ocean is closed, the beach is closed, and what we have seen is the beach patrol going out onto the sand anytime someone steps out onto to the beach. We took a ride with the Beach Patrol lieutenant, and he too was ordering people off the beach. He says conditions are bad now, but it's going to get even more dangerous.
Typically what happens is the ocean will clean up a little bit. It won't look as scary, but you can still have, because of the storm surge and all the big waves, you can still have very, very dangerous rip currents and bad shore breaks.
The good news here in Ocean City is they don't expect any real damage from this storm. It is far enough offshore that there will, there's going to be a lot of wind. The surf will be high. There will be some movement of sand onto the boardwalk and perhaps into some streets. Some low-lying areas will flood, but they feel lucky that Erin is staying out in the ocean and not expected to make any landfall. In Ocean City, Maryland, Brad Bell reporting.
And on the coast of South Carolina, some residents are breathing a sigh of relief. That's because beach dunes did their job and helped protect coastal communities. Cameron Limes has more from Folly Beach, South Carolina.
So you can see the surge actually reached just to the bottom of the dunes, and that elevation almost acts like a natural seawall protecting the community.
High tides pulling sand off of beaches.
So when a strong hurricane brings storm surge and damaging waves, the dunes sometimes will survive. Sometimes we wait till after hurricane season to address major damage.
As Hurricane Erin moves slowly northward, coastal towns already checking on the health of their dunes. According to experts, reinforcing the dunes is not common, especially during mild hurricane seasons.
Renourishment projects come along every 5 to 7 years.
And out on Folly Beach, dunes cost millions of dollars to keep in place.
The project was $18 million. We're essentially managing them every single day. There's a huge return on investment from beach management.
But despite the hefty price tag, experts say the dunes are well worth it.
We maintain these beaches to have a buffer of protection. The reason that we maintain our beaches is for tourism, but also for storm protection. And the beaches functioned exactly as we hoped they would during the passage of Hurricane Erin.
The damage from Hurricane Erin is minimal because the storm turned away from land and headed back out into the Atlantic. To understand what factors steer hurricanes and determine the direction, we turn to meteorologist Marion Caldwell.
Well, Erin took a fortunate turn away from direct land impacts, and that's due to what we call steering. Now, hurricane steering refers to the large-scale atmospheric forces that guide the movement of tropical cyclones, and it played a crucial role in directing Hurricane Erin away from the U.S. One of the most influential features was the Bermuda High over the Atlantic. Initially, Erin tracked along the southern and western edge of the high, which typically would steer the storm towards the southeastern United States. However, a timely weakness in that high developed, and that created a gap that allowed Erin to veer northward instead of continuing west. And at the same time, an upper level trough or a region of low pressure from the northeast, this trough acted like a magnet, pulling Erin into the mid-latitude westerlies, which are fast moving winds that helped steer the storm northward and out to sea. The jet stream also played a role in steering Erin away from land, and these all together did create an opening that guided Erin safely away from land, sparing the U.S. from any direct impacts.
Parts of Northern California are under evacuation orders this morning. A wildfire that started yesterday in the Napa Valley area is rapidly growing. The picket fire has burned more than 2,100 acres near Calistoga. At 0% contained, several wineries and vineyards in Napa are in that evacuation zone. Intense heavy rain triggered flooding in Roanoke, Virginia on Thursday. Swift water crews teams reportedly helped a dozen people escape the rising water. Numerous roads were forced to close. They have since reopened. Some people staying at a local hotel were also forced out after it flooded. Roanoke's airport recorded 3.5 inches of rain in just 1 hour. And for the latest weather, news, and video, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we find out what's causing dead fish to wash up along the shores of Florida, and we'll look at how officials in Michigan are using AI technology to better understand the state's elk population.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn. Let's get a look at the Northeast as we head through the day on Friday. We are dry across much of the Northeast. You notice we do have Aaron well down to our south and east. That's going to continue to move on off towards the east. We are looking at lots of sunshine all throughout the Northeast on Friday. That will continue into the day on Saturday. Of course, if you are heading to the beaches, we are going to see heightened wave heights as well as rip current threats as we head through the next couple of days. But the high temperatures today topping out in the 80s.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. High pressure will build over the region, and that means plenty of sunshine into the afternoon. It's also looking good as we head into Saturday, but the next weather maker will follow on Sunday. A cold front will lead to the next chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the 70s and 80s, staying below average for most. Then into the night, it'll get chilly as temperatures drop to the 50s and 60s across the region.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We are definitely seeing a little bit of the wedging effect with the North Carolina, North Georgia mountains. We're seeing temperatures in the afternoon in the upper 80s and middle 70s. That's a little bit below where we should be this time of year. We're expecting temperatures everywhere else to be seasonably warm, arguably hot in the upper 80s and lower 90s. A few isolated coastal showers in the morning, normal sea breeze activity in the afternoon across the area. So expect pretty widespread showers and storms across the region.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, it's still August, but it doesn't feel like it in eastern and northern parts of the country. Temperatures will be pleasant from New England to the Carolinas and into the Midwest. That is not the case out west, where nearly 50 million people are under heat alerts today. They stretch from Washington state to Southern California. The mercury will approach 110 degrees in Phoenix and 105 in Bakersfield. Richland, Washington could see 99 degrees, in Los Angeles settling into the mid-90s, and in western Oregon, temperatures could get into the triple digits this weekend, setting records and posing serious health risks. Vasily Varalum is in Portland, Oregon with more.
Extreme heat is still the #1 weather-related killer in the United States.
Weather and emergency officials warning Oregonians about the dangers of this upcoming heat wave. While everyone's at risk of heat-related illness, older adults, infants, those who work outdoors, and unhoused people are of top concern. Officials say it's important to know the signs that something is wrong and to step in if someone is showing signs of illness.
If you start feeling nauseous or dizzy or lightheaded, get out of the heat, go inside, drink some water, sit for a bit, maybe take a cold shower and cool off until you feel normal again. You don't want to get to the point where you're past heat exhaustion and you're in heat stroke, because heat stroke is actually a medical emergency.
Erin Zysett with the Oregon Department of Emergency Management says to call 911 immediately if someone is showing signs of heat stroke. She added the thing people don't realize about the heat is how quickly it can disorient your judgment.
And so that's where the real danger is that your judgment starts getting impaired pretty quickly. So you have to rely on the people around you to notice.
Zysett says if you're planning on exercising this weekend, try to do it during cooler points in the day, like the early morning or later at night. She specifically mentioned the popular Hood to Coast relay race happening this weekend as a point of concern.
If you feel comfortable turning your sprinklers on and letting them run through your sprinklers if they're coming through your neighborhood, just keeping an eye on them because they are going to be exerting themselves in the heat.
Dead fish are washing up on the shores of eastern Florida and has residents concerned about their health. Elle Peffley looks into what's causing the massive die-off.
Lots of dead fish and vultures apparently feeding pretty well off of them.
Dan Diamond is one of the homeowners at the sanctuary at Sawgrass Lakes.
He says last Thursday, for the first time, he saw workers in an airboat using a net to scoop up dead fish. And every day, even on Saturday and Sunday, the guys on the airboat are out there scooping up dead fish.
I want to see something get done soon, now. And I'd like the smell to go away.
The Westport Wastewater Treatment Facility on Southwest Darwin Boulevard is nearby, but a city spokesperson says the city has confirmed no reclaimed water, wastewater, or chemicals have been released into the lake.
There's got to be a reason why all of a sudden fish are showing up on the grass, and and now we've got vultures coming to eat them. So I really don't know what is causing it, but I don't like it. It's very scary.
The city says the lake is not a source of drinking water for residents. The city sent us a written statement that reads in part, quote, "The city of Port St. Lucie was notified Thursday, August 14th of dead fish in the Sawgrass Lakes neighborhood. The city immediately responded and is investigating for a potential cause. The oxygen levels were tested and the results were normal. The city has not initiated herbicide spraying in this area since 2022. At this time, the city has only identified fish as being impacted, not any other animals."
There's something going on, and it's relatively recent because it just started, and it's changed the ecosystem here in a bad way.
Officials in Michigan are using cutting-edge technology to better understand the state elk population. They will shift through hundreds of thousands of images created by motion-sensing game cameras deployed across the state. But they are also getting a little help from AI. Mark Scholet has more.
We have right around 1,200 elk is our latest estimate for the northern Lower Peninsula.
Tyler Petruglia knows better than most how many elk roam our woods because as a DNR wildlife research specialist, that's part of his job.
In recent years, what we've done is we've used an aerial siteability survey.
For 8 days in the winter, 3 planes fly overhead, take a picture of the elk, do some fancy math, and come up with an estimated population.
Some of the challenges that we've had in recent years is that snow cover has been less reliable. Without that snow cover, it becomes much more challenging to get a good, accurate estimate of elk abundance on the landscape.
Good and accurate is the goal of the DNR. So this year, they're trying something different.
We've started up a camera survey where we've deployed just over 200 cameras across that same core elk range in the northern Lower Peninsula.
The DNR trading in aircraft a couple of thousand feet off the ground to motion sensing game cameras a couple of feet off of it.
We deploy these cameras in July, and we're going to be picking these cameras up in October to do image review.
Ground photos may have an upside for researchers.
The nice thing about this camera survey is we're doing it at a time of year where the bulls have full antler development. They're readily identifiable between bulls and cows, then also between cows and calves.
That's the plus side. The potential downside? They're going to be looking at 4 months worth of photos.
So certainly we expect hundreds of thousands of photos.
And that's where the Michigan Cooperative Fish and Wildlife Research Unit at MSU comes in. They'll be running all those photos through AI technology.
Empty photos and photos of people and vehicles, that can be 40 to 60% of your data set.
Those get deleted. The remaining pictures get run through a cloud-based platform.
Even though we have AI going and predicting that there's an elk in the photo, we want to be very confident that that truly is an elk, and then to do what's the sex of that elk, what's the age class of that elk.
The latest technology being incorporated to understand an animal that's roamed these woods for countless decades, and the attempt to make sure they remain a healthy herd for decades to come.
This summer's devastating wildfire season has sent smoke across states and international borders, affecting air quality thousands of miles from the flames. This week on our podcast, meteorologist Emily Gracie sat down with a climate scientist to learn about how climate change is stretching out the season and literally adding fuel to the flames.
2025 has been an intense year for wildfires. From the destructive January fires in Southern California to massive, never-ending blazes like Arizona's Dragon Bravo fire at the Grand Canyon, and Canadian wildfires that have triggered widespread air quality alerts. Wildfire smoke knows no boundaries. It travels hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles from the flames that created it, turning clear blue skies into a soupy, dangerous haze that can make breathing feel like work. Today, we're going off the radar to clear the air on fire weather. We'll explore the invisible dance between smoke and weather systems that determines whether your city wakes up under clear skies or a blanket of particulates. We'll learn why wildfire seasons are stretching longer each year and how a changing climate is literally adding fuel to the fire.
And you can find our podcast Off the Radar anywhere you get your podcasts. And as we head to break, we leave you with views of the Great Plains.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. We have some rain trying to move its way across the Midwest today, and it's going to continue trying to drift its way down. And it's going to cool things off because yesterday South Dakota was pushing into the triple digits. But 70s are on the way for your Saturday to the north, and those cooler temperatures will continue pushing their way farther south as we go into your Sunday. So a lot of the Midwest in the low 80s or 70s for Sunday.
Well, a good Friday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region, and there will be the chance through the morning for the Gulf Coast to see a few showers or thunderstorms, and with a little heating of the day from New Orleans, the Houston area, San Antonio, Corpus Christi to Laredo could get a few showers or storms. Dry and hot 80s and 90s, Oklahoma into Arkansas, and Saturday, really not a bad summer day. Mainly dry across the region with a little bit of rain chance in South Texas.
Well, hi there and a good Friday morning to you, everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, you can see where the heat is definitely back on. That would be the PNW. 101 as temperatures soar past the century mark in Portland, Oregon, and right behind that 98 out of Boise. Sunshine back in Seattle and Spokane as well, and a chance for thunderstorms eventually closer to the Four Corners region. Fog gathering again at the Golden Gate there near the city by the bay. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
High temperatures, high humidity, and frequent rains create ideal conditions for fungal diseases to develop and spread in your yard. But there are things you can do to prevent it. Meteorologist Grayson Frond has more.
If you've noticed a yellow or orange powder on your grass or on the bottom of your shoes after being outside, it's likely turf grass rust, one of several fungal diseases spreading more often this summer. Others are Pythium blight, brown patch, or leaf spot and melting out.
If you do see some of your turf dying out, September is actually the perfect time to reseed those areas. And so if you've noticed that some bare patches have formed because you had some of these diseases, that would be the time to overseed and get new grass started.
Most of these issues can be managed or prevented by watering early in the day, fertilizing appropriately, and mowing regularly.
If it's fruit in the vegetable garden like tomatoes, make sure you're harvesting and getting rid of that stuff because that will help stimulate the plant to produce new fruit.
Fungal diseases usually don't cause lasting damage on established plants, but removing infected plants helps prevent problems next season.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday. Right now, the National Weather Desk, as peak hurricane season fast approaches, we're taking a closer look at why storms are Good morning and welcome to the National. So quickly.
We have seen record levels of this heat.
Right now, the National Weather Desk, as peak hurricane season fast approaches, we're taking a closer look at why storms are growing so big so quickly.
We have seen record levels of this heat in the ocean.
How the National Hurricane Center is working to improve its messaging.
They're able to communicate precisely what they heard and what they thought.
Plus a look back at the Labor Day storm 90 years later. And we're also taking you to weather school with lessons on downpours.
Then guess what happens? All of that comes down in one spot.
Hail formation, and the latest installment of our exclusive segment, Social Meteorology.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Today we hope to make you a little smarter as we teach you about the weather and its impact on you. And we're going to start with hurricanes because the statistical peak of the season happens on September 10th. It's only been 2 weeks since Hurricane Aaron grew from a Category 1 into a monster Category 5 storm. It's a process called rapid intensification. Meteorologist John Gum shows us how it works.
Let's talk about what ingredients you need to get tropical development. First and foremost, you need warm water, not just at the surface of the ocean, but all the way down through the ocean. The heat content of the ocean has to be high, and we have seen record levels of this heat in the ocean this year, fueling these storms. 80 degrees or above is typically where we need to be, but we've seen upper 80s, low 90s on some of these water temperatures as of late. In addition to the warm water, you need converging winds coming together at the surface to force air upwards and to begin to get that shower and thunderstorm activity to develop. You also need abundant moisture or humidity in the atmosphere over top of these things for them to feed on. Finally, you need winds aloft that are roughly blowing in the same direction and that aren't too strong. If the winds are too strong, they'll shear the tops off these tropical systems and they won't develop. But if you have generally the same direction of winds, they're generally not too terribly strong, and what we call the wind shear is low, all of these ingredients together can form hurricanes. And if all of these ingredients are perfect, then these things can grow huge quickly in a short matter of time and intensify rapidly.
The National Hurricane Center in Miami is issuing forecasts that are more precise than ever. Now the focus has shifted to communication. Emily Gracie sat down with the deputy director to hear about the work they are conducting in communities recently impacted by hurricanes, an effort they say will help with effective messaging before a storm arrives.
We want to be respectful of the individuals and what they've experienced. So when we do this, it's very quiet, and that has resulted in people not realizing that we do that. And so we do it for twofold. One, to chronicle the storm. In situ observations have never and will never fully encapsulate or sort of document a disaster. To really understand a disaster, you have to be boots on the ground, damage assessment, damage surveys, and understanding what it did to the community. Do you have any watermarks in your home? Can you help me find it? Can you help me tell me what you saw, what you experienced? Did you stay? Why did you stay? Did you leave? Why did you leave? What specifically did you hear that made you leave? This is some of the most enriching parts of the job in terms of determining what we do next. It's also incredibly therapeutic to the individual. Like, they're under massive duress and strain. And for us to show up and say, we're here to properly document what you experienced and to ensure we learn from it.
It has to be quite the weight to bear, though, in understanding exactly the role that the forecasters are playing, that communicators are playing when you see it on the ground like that post-storm.
And you learn so many things. People are so crystal clear when they communicate after disaster like that. I mean, they're able to communicate precisely what they heard and what they thought when they heard that and how that motivated action.
Any of those surprise you? Any of those moves were just completely out of the blue that you didn't know about before?
Well, generally speaking, there's a tipping point. So people are optimistic both that the storm's going to miss them or their ability to weather it. And then there's a trend, there's a shift. So the track shifts, or the intensity goes up, or the intensity forecast goes up, or the hazard goes up, surge goes up. And at some point that just pushes them over, and they say that's enough.
To hear the full discussion with Jamie, check out our podcast, Off the Radar. Learn about the steps you should take now to prepare for potential tropical impacts this season. Find Off the Radar anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And hurricanes can be dangerous and also deadly, but they also serve a crucial purpose in the Earth's climate system. Meteorologist Jeff Exline took to Instagram to explain.
Hurricane Aaron already making an impact across the Carolinas. Look at Wrightsville Beach, over 50 water rescues from rip currents on Monday alone. Now, hurricanes do a lot of bad, but they do some good. The sole purpose of a hurricane is to transfer heat energy from the equatorial regions northward to the colder polar regions. And a lot of times what happens when you have a northward moving hurricane, the colder air from the poles will get dislodged and head southward. For that reason, it is going to be getting cooler, a little autumn appetizer for much of the Ohio Valley, the eastern part of the United States, and Midwest, beginning early next week.
90 years ago, one of the strongest hurricanes in U.S. history made landfall in the Florida Keys. It's known as the Labor Day storm of 1935. Emily Gracie looks back at this historic storm.
In 1935, life in the Florida Keys was a unique blend of natural beauty, maritime tradition, and a vacation lifestyle. Despite the Depression, tourists flocked to the Keys by way of Henry Flagler's Overseas Railroad. On Labor Day 1935, the nation's first recorded Category 5 hurricane struck the Florida Keys, killing hundreds and leveling buildings up and down the island. In a time before weather radar and satellites, residents of the Keys relied on word of mouth and weather instruments. They heard a storm hit the Bahamas and started watching the barometer. As the pressure fell, they prepared for the worst, and it arrived on Monday, September 2nd. The pressure dropped to 892 millibars as the storm intensified, bringing winds over 200 miles per hour and a 15-foot storm surge that washed away 30 miles of railroad. On one of those rail cars were hundreds of World War I veterans that were living and working in the Keys at the time. The railroad was never rebuilt, but evidence of it remains if you drive down the Overseas Highway today. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie.
And 15 years ago today, Hurricane Ike formed in the Atlantic. Over the following 2 weeks, Ike tracked over multiple Caribbean islands before making landfall in Galveston, Texas. Meteorologist Marshall McPeak looks back at his legacy.
Ike spent about 15 days churning through the ocean and then making its way past Cuba. As it came ashore there, it was a Category 4 storm and did enormous damage. Then it came ashore in the U.S., and that at Galveston was a Category 2 storm. The water was so high, the waves were coming over a 17-foot seawall. Galveston was flooded. The Category 2 winds did a lot of damage. But up through the Midwest, the storm changed characteristics. It was a beautiful day across a lot of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. The blue sky was gorgeous, but the winds became 75 miles per hour as it raced through our area. In fact, shortly after that, it went all the way up into Iceland, and the remnants there generated 30-foot waves. In the U.S., 113 people died. There were 195 total. Many of those were in Haiti. $30 billion in damages in the U.S., but in Ohio, $1.1 billion worth of damage. It was one of the most expensive disasters Ohio has seen since the Xenia tornado. And 2.5 million people were out of power. And in a lot of cases, it went on for a week or more. That's what most people remember, is how long the power was out across a lot of Ohio, Indiana, and up into parts of Michigan.
And we also invite you to check out our preview of hurricane season superstorms. The 2025 hurricane season is streaming right now on our YouTube page. We examine the impacts of Helene and Milton last year and look back at Katrina 20 years after it devastated New Orleans. And time now for a short break, but first we take in sunrise views over Baltimore's Inner Harbor.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Let's talk rainbows. This is known as a fire rainbow, but it's technically a circumhorizontal arc. It's formed by the refraction of sunlight and ice crystals suspended in the air. This rainbow may seem incomplete, but there's a good reason. It won't reach the ground until the rain reaches the ground. And double rainbows like this form when sunlight is reflected twice within the same raindrop.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
And now we turn to something that's often confused with tornadoes. They are called downbursts. Meteorologist Evan Chikvera explains how they differ from twisters.
We'll start with a look at a thunderstorm that occurs in the summertime. Vertically, these can go 30,000 plus feet. It's pretty high in the atmosphere. That's rising air. That's vertical motion. That means hail cores at times, lots of rain, and all that eventually has to come down. So how the heck do we get from some cumulus clouds to this setup? So of course you have your inflow. This is the updraft. That is what is fueling these thunderstorms. Eventually it gets to a point of kind of equilibrium. You've got updrafts going in, but you also now have downdrafts going out of the storm. Eventually there's so much mass within this thunderstorm that it can no longer be supported by the updraft. And guess what happens? All of that comes down in one spot. If you've ever turned on a sink faucet, the water goes down straight out into the sink. That's a lot like a downburst. So what is a micro versus a macro? Well, it's as simple as the size. You look at a microburst, this is going to be less than 2.5 miles in diameter. That's pretty small. That's a concentrated area of heavy rain, sometimes hail, and gusty winds. Very tough to predict, but very common in the summertime, and they can be damaging. A macro burst just happens on a larger scale, usually part of a larger thunderstorm, and these can be a little bit more impactful given the overall size. But trees down, you'll sometimes have power outages, so these can be sneaky, pop up often in the summertime.
Some people find hail confusing. They don't understand why frozen balls of ice fall during warm spring and summer storms. But there is a very good reason, as meteorologist Mitchell Combs shows us.
Hail begins as evaporating water from the Earth's surface. The water droplets are then captured in the updraft of a thunderstorm, eventually reaching the freezing layer high in the atmosphere, where they quickly freeze. These frozen drops will periodically fall partially through the storm before being swept up in the updraft again. As it passes back through the freezing layer, it will grow in size from freezing supercooled water droplets or smaller pieces of ice to its surface. As long as the updraft can keep the hailstone suspended, the cycle can repeat many times, allowing the hailstone to grow larger and larger. Eventually, the weight of the hailstone will exceed the vertical force from the updraft and it will fall to the surface. They can range from the size of a pea to a tennis or baseball, all the way up to the exceptionally rare size of grapefruits and DVDs. A correlation exists between a thunderstorm's updraft speeds and the size of hail it can produce. For example, non-severe hail up to nickel size will require updraft speeds less than 47 miles per hour. For severe criteria hail common to our region, quarter size to hen egg size will need those updraft speeds around 50 to 70 miles per hour. And for those exceptionally rare grapefruit size hailstones, the updraft speeds need to be nearly 100 miles per hour.
And meteorologist Andrew Buck Michael from our station in Columbus, Ohio, answers viewer questions on social media. It's a segment that he calls the Weather Bucket.
What is up, everyone? Andrew Buck Michael back with another round of your Weather Bucket questions. We got plenty in here, and we've also got some new ones to add. By the way, just go to my Facebook page, look for this post pinned at the top, and we will answer your weather questions. All right, first question coming in from Laura. Why can we be getting rain, but up the road, the sun is shining? Actually, Carol's look similar here. What is the difference between scattered showers and isolated showers? Two great questions. Lately, what we've been seeing here in central Ohio, these convective pop-up showers and thunderstorms, where you get the heat of the day to basically get just enough energy to start towering up these clouds, and they eventually become a shower once they get tall enough and start raining back out some of that moisture that we've been all feeling. Now, they continue to strengthen, but they're not widespread. So that's why some areas may see rain, but other areas miss out on it because it's not a widespread complex storm. It's these individual clusters, which Carol's question is, what's the difference between isolated and scattered showers and thunderstorms? And here's a breakdown. When we just have a few covering the area, that's when it's going to be more spotty or isolated. The more we get, it's still scattered, not widespread, but we can get to that numerous and widespread, the more rain we anticipate. So when we call for scattered rain, Some of us will see the rain, but not a guarantee for everyone. And hopefully that's a good breakdown of the types of rain we've been seeing here in Central Ohio lately, and also across a lot of the country, some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms. By the way, send in your weather questions. We'll be sure to add them to the weather bucket for next time.
All right, and time now for a segment that we call Social Meteorology.
When you see a dark cloud, you know it's time to go inside. It's about to rain, right? But do you know why? Hi, I'm meteorologist Tara Blake. So first, let's talk about the composition of a cloud. It's made up of condensed water vapor, water droplets. And as the sun beams down on those water droplets, the white light is then reflected, showing you that beautiful white puffy cloud in the sky. But then, as warm air rises, the cloud starts to get taller, denser, and thicker, and the sun is unable to penetrate through. Some of that light is being absorbed or reflected, but you're getting almost the shadow at the bottom of the cloud for what you see. As the raindrops, the water droplets continue to grow and increase, the cloud gets darker, and that's your signal to head inside.
Have you ever noticed why rain has a smell to it? Well, let me tell you why. It can be one of three things, so let's get into it. Well, soil-dwelling bacteria release a chemical called geosmin, and raindrops help release this earthy-smelling chemical into the air. And the second thing that can cause the smell is actually from plants. And when it's dry, plants release oils. Rain causes a smelly compound, which is called petrichor, to be released from those oils. Lastly, lightning can split oxygen molecules into individual atoms. Those atoms can combine with the O2 molecules to make ozone, which has a distinct smell. So next time you're outside, that's what you're smelling.
Let's talk about the difference between partly sunny and partly cloudy. Do you know the difference? We start with the easy one, sunny and mostly sunny. And we all do it through percentage of cloud cover in the sky. Between 0 and about 25% is sunny to mostly sunny. Here's where it gets tricky. When we say partly cloudy skies, that means there's more sunshine than cloud cover in the sky. I know, it's a little confusing. Anywhere between 26% through about 50% is partly cloudy. Then we get to partly sunny, which means that there's going to be a little more cloud cover than sunshine. And that's going to be anywhere between about 51% through about 74%. Then we add more cloud cover, about 75% through about 89%, mostly cloudy. And then anything above 90 to 100% cloud cover, it's cloudy outside. Now, a lot of meteorologists will use the partly cloudy to partly sunny interchangeably, but hope that clears up a little bit for you that yes, partly cloudy actually means there's more sunshine.
And time now for a short break, but first we soar over northern Michigan.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
And time now for a lesson on cloud iridescence. Here's meteorologist Jeff Exline.
Have you ever looked up in the sky and seen vibrant, shimmering colors dancing within the clouds? These mesmerizing displays are known as iridescent clouds. Tom Leonard Jr. shared these fabulous photos of cloud iridescence from Fairpoint, Ohio. The delicate colors of iridescent clouds often manifest as random patches of bands at the edge of the clouds. However, when droplet size is uniform throughout the cloud, they can form organized coronal rings. Cloud iridescence occurs when sunlight hits tiny water droplets or ice crystals in the clouds. The light bends and spreads out, kind of like it's going through a prism. And just like that, you get the colors of the rainbow. You'll usually catch it when the sun's just behind the cloud, so it lights things up just right. The term iridescence is derived from Iris, the Greek personification of the rainbow.
And here's a very rare sight in the western Montana sky. Noctilucent clouds are the highest clouds of the atmosphere, forming in the stratosphere some 50 miles above the Earth's surface. They form when ice crystals form on dust particles, possibly from meteors or maybe even volcanoes. They're only visible during astronomical twilight around sunrise and sunset. We will be right back. But and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.